Can you see me?
Yes, yes, Master.
चला गया ना?
We can do something. Wait.
Sir, Kumar ma'am told me to join in between. She told me whenever 11 was
Okay, no
the will start.
problem. Now?
Yes, yes.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Now you can see the thing?
Yes, sir.
Right, you can see the slide?
Yes, of course, I can see.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Manish.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Hatu, hi.
Hello, boss.
Because Hatu, I have to say.
Today I was speaking to Satish sir, that's why I was speaking to Dr. Vijay Krishnan. No, we are at the moment information.
Yes, you can go live, sir. We are live.
Yeah. Can we?
Yes, on.
Yeah. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to everyone. And today is the 15th webinar with Dr.
Volume
Satish
full
sir.
रखो. Full.
And this is the 15th surgical demonstration from basic to advanced laryngology. And this is the 15th one with Dr. Rajiv Pachori. And today we have again the Galaxy of Stars.
सब तैयार रखना.
Girish Krishna, Dr. Manish Munjal, and for a change, then we have today, we have young Dr. And we are missing and I think this again was going to be a very interesting and very
Steepies, no?
Once again, heartiest welcome to all of you on behalf of Sun Pharma. This is Mahendra Raman, Pharma Care Division, Dr. Super D, Super Dam, and so with this, let me hand over the session to Dr. Rajiv Pachori for an interesting session. Sir, Doctor.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, my dear friends from all around the globe. I think this is our 15th webinar on basics to advanced ENT surgery from our team, headed by Dr. Satish Jain, Paramita, me, and we have many guests in between. Today we have Dr. Girish Misra sir, Dr. Manish Munjal, and our young dynamic Udhav Mittal as a moderator today because we are missing Paramita for some other reasons. So this is the one more event where we are just dealing with basics to advanced ENT surgeries again because we are revising all the steps, and I think I requested everyone to repeat. Means you can say they should go for all the videos being shown before, all the structures, so they can review the anatomy and all the surgeries being done in past. So it will be easy for them to understand the basic concepts of the ENT, which we are going to show, which we are going to show and share with you all. And again, next Sunday we will have a few more cases, and we will do Sunday by Sunday. And today, again, I welcome all my delegates, friends from all over the world. And we all know that today, again, I would like to thank Sun Pharma for organizing this wonderful event, which is, I think, they're breaking all the records of, you can say, in the number of attendance as well as the quality-wise. This is one of the best as for the review. So I would like to thank Sun Pharma again. Today we have a list of surgeries starting from recurrent respiratory papillomatosis, been operated many times, and today is going to show with the laser, and beside we will just give a monoclonal antibiotic injection at the site. Again, cholesteatoma with extravasation, interrogation, steppies, 3-4 steppies with different varieties of the approaches and the different how we can do the steppies in different way. Where we have seen all the cases of carotid body tumor. Today we have vagal paraganglionoma, CSM with face palsy. We already shown today's cases with different laser cordectomy with long discussion about the CA, vocal cord and larynx also. and we have very rare incidents, or we can say rarely done case like the auricular sinus. He will operate bilaterally in a single space. We have galaxies of panelists with us. Again, I would like to welcome Dr. Misra sir, Dr. Munjal, and on the full all the team. And we will call many people in between for a long discussion around it about it. So again, I would like to thank Sun Pharma and full team of Sun team for this wonderful event. Now I think I should over to Dr. Satish Jain. He is waiting for the discussion. And anything from anybody? Anyone to share anything? So Dr. Satish, over to you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Again, a big day with the basics to advanced with our esteemed guest, and it's a pleasure to welcome today one of our very senior faculty with us, Professor Girish Mishra sir.
Yes.
We all know, Ajay, Professor Girish Mishra sir has been in teaching for more than 3 decades. For last 2 decades, more than that, he is heading the Department of ENT at Concert Medical College. Before that, he has a special interest in cancer work. He has been associated with many of the, director of many of the projects of the ICMR pertaining to cancers. That is a big achievement for something need to be known by everyone. He has a special training in cochlear implant from Australia. Besides his training in cancer surgery from the prestigious Tata Memorial Hospital, and he has trained hundreds of students in the last 3 decades, and they are practicing at many parts of the India and doing really well. He is a very committed teacher. We welcome Girish Mishra sir. Thank you sir for joining us. Thank you very much. Can we focus his picture?
Dr. Mishra sir.
Mishra sir was online just now. I saw him. Ajay, can? Yeah, I think this country is coming. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. The electricity on you because of power cut.
Yeah. So we are all so happy to have you here today to enlighten us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the invitation. Thanks to Dr. Rajiv yourself for including us in your team.
So it's a pleasure for us to have you, and we'll certainly learn from your huge experience, and everyone will be benefited. Thank you. And then today we have a very simple and a senior person with us, Dr. Manish Munjal sir. We all know him, how keen he is in academics, how dedicated he is, how involved he is in all academic activities. He is now presently professor at the prestigious DMC Medical College, Ludhiana. He is highly academically oriented, has many academic rewards to his credit. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sparing a valuable time for us.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, sir. And today Paramita is busy, and we have a very young, dynamic, upcoming superstar, Dr. Udbhav Mittal, with us. And I'm sure he's full of excitement to bombard questions today. He was very keen to be part of it, and we are so happy with him. He is dynamic. In the short span of his ENT career, he has worked with many stalwarts like Nupur. He has a special interest in laryngology. Today we have some laryngology cases as well. He has worked with Dr. Mubarak Khan as well in endoscopic pathology. He has worked with, very senior laryngologist, Dr. Ramalingam. So he has a keen interest in laryngology, and today he will be taking care of the questions to forward us. He will select important questions. Thank you, Udbhav, for showing your interest.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Vishal, for joining again, the young dynamic. So today, like we had a last webinar was full of advanced surgeries. So today was the time to start with the basics again, to go with the advance in the end. So today we are going to start with a very interesting situation, which I would call it one of the most frustrating situation for the patient, their family, as well as treating surgeon. Recurrent respiratory papillomatosis. We all know this disease is a benign condition. This is notorious with no final cure yet. And the affected populations are mostly children, young children requiring repeated surgery for the airway. This is something so unfortunate for this disease. Can you connect the laptop? So, this disease, as I mentioned, there is no definitive treatment so far. So many things are being tried. So what exactly this disease is? What are we going to achieve with the surgery? Surgery has only the role of giving air and to maintain the voice. That's it. Surgery is not going to cure by and large. And it's not that if you do a radical surgery like a tumor, go all around with margins to remove the disease, it's not going to work like this. Because this papilloma, this disease is caused by a virus, HPV. We know there are more than 100 strains of HPV which are prevalent. And we know the HPV 16 and 18 are so notorious to give so many malignancies. This disease is mostly found in two groups of population. One, and the most common, is children. Children, young children, more young the child, more the difficult to handle, more extensive the diseases, more severe the diseases. So it invades the basal epithelium of the airway, and where the virus replicates and gives rise to it starts a sort of immune reaction and sets up a T helper 2 kind sort of inflammation where the virus persists. The role of surgery is to remove all those exophytic lesions which blocks otherwise the airway and to maintain the speech, voice. The virus remains in the basal epithelium and it's not going to go so easily. So these patients require repeated surgeries to maintain the airway. So what all we are going to achieve with that? What are our goals of treatment? So this is, as I mentioned, is an immune complex disease. Because this virus incites a local immunogenic inflammation. So the treatment should be directed towards immunomodulation. A lot of research work is going on. I am going to highlight the recent work going on and what are the present adjuvant therapies which are prevalent in the present scenario. So our goal is immunomodulation. Whatever the agents which help in modulating the immune response are going to help. Disrupting this virus replication which is giving rise to this replication. Then the control of inflammation because of this ongoing viral inflammation. And this inflammation has been proven to be because of neoangiogenesis. So now the next goal is directed towards prevention of neoangiogenesis to reduce the incidence of surgeries, to increase the interval amongst the surgeries overall. Because yet there is no simple cure. So as far as the adjuvant therapies are concerned, see the list of things. There are many more which people have been trying for years together to reduce the number of surgeries, to increase the interval amongst the surgeries. Cidofovir is on the top. There are hundreds publications on cidofovir use with local intralesional injection, IV injection. IV is not preferred because of their side effect. It's an antiviral drug preventing replication of the virus. That's how the other antiviral, ribavirin, acyclovir have been tried. But long term, there is still, we have to go beyond. There is no favorable result as far as the long terms are concerned. Interferon, particularly the pegylated interferon alpha 2, has promising result by means of modulating the immune response. Normally interferon is secreted by our own leukocytes to improve the antigen response. So here the pegylated interferon alpha 2 has a response. It has shown response. The cost is a limiting factor for particularly for our Indian population. This cost is too much, costing more than $1,500 or something. $1,500 for every dose of interferon pegylated one, and that too the acquiring is too difficult a process, and yet there is no long-term cure. Then other things which prevent the replication of virus have been tried, like cis-retinoic acid. We all know it prevents proliferative activity immunity of the cells. Mumps vaccine have been tried, and there's no harm in trying mumps vaccine because many of the children are already vaccinated by the MMR, as it is in our national immunization program. But yet we should inquire if somebody is not vaccinated. There is no harm in giving mumps vaccine. Then this HSP-E7 is a papilloma protein, the heat shock protein. This is extracted from the papillomavirus. Have been tried. All this investigational. The biggest thing, the big thing in the recent time, which has come up, is a PD-1 inhibitor, programmed cell death 1 inhibitor, which has proven to have a big role. A lot of, the third round trials are going on. It has got approval by the FDA. Pembrolizumab, the cost is again a limiting factor, costing more than 2 lakhs per doses of pembrolizumab. So it's still long way to go. The other therapies, photodiamidine, have not, established their place. So what we are using now, these are the list of therapies which I am going to show now and share with you based on the evidence-based medicine. These are the things which have a quite, I would say, suggestive role in the treatment of juvenile respiratory papillomatosis. And number one on that is a vascular endothelial receptor inhibitor, bevacizumab, which is popularly available in India in the brand name of Avastin. So bevacizumab inhibits neoangiogenesis. As I mentioned in the goals of treatment, inhibiting the neoangiogenesis is one of the main goal of treatment, and this is how the bevacizumab, the vascular endothelial receptor inhibitor, works. So what we do, and we are now number of patients, we have been trying this for last 3 years and got exceedingly good results. Some of the patients have been cured now. And rest, the incidences of the frequent surgery has declined, has gone down significantly. So how we use is a very, very safe drug. You can use intralesional after the excision, and then the rest of the drug, like we inject 25 to 50 milligram intralesional and rest 50 milligram we give IV. After the initial excision is the main role to remove the visual papillomas, to maintain the airway. As I mentioned, you are not supposed to be radical in excision. The more radical you are, more fibrosis you are going to give, more chances of laryngeal stenosis we are going to give, and that is detrimental to the child's voice as well as the airway. So goal of surgery is to remove the minimal lesion up to the surface without damaging the underlying surface, and then we can inject this bevacizumab in the base of the lesion to prevent further neoangiogenesis, and it has proven to be amazing. I am going to show today. Then celecoxib, as we all know, is a COX-2 inhibitor. Papilloma have shown number of COX-2 receptors on the surface, and celecoxib is a simple COX-2 inhibitor, has an immense role as an adjuvant therapy. There is no harm in giving. So what we are giving a lot of things as an adjuvant because there is no definitive treatment and it's supposed to work. So we give all patients celecoxib, particularly children, 100 milligram twice a day for a few months, and it is very, very safe. And it has, I believe it has some role. And the biggest role is as I said, this is caused by the HPV virus. Children are affected by either a direct maternal transmission or during the vaginal delivery. Particularly the young primipara ladies with the first child born, labor is prolonged. The prolonged labor is the region where the fetus or the child remains in contact with the vaginal surface more, and because of the friction and trauma, prolonged friction and trauma, this virus is introduced. That's how the theory, how the children are affected. Otherwise, that's how a lot of studies have proven that the delivery by the cesarean section reduces the incidence of recurrent respiratory papillomatosis, and the reason is this is mostly because of the young females affected by this HPV, and the common lesion is condylomata, genital condylomata, and which at the time of delivery can transmit to the child. So HPV vaccination has a big role. A lot of patients have shown amazing responses. It's a standard adjuvant therapy now, and earlier we were using Gardasil 4, and now the non-available Gardasil 9 is available, and that is amazing. Every patient we are treating, giving him Gardasil. All patients we are giving Gardasil to improve the immune response against the HPV to prevent replication, and this has proven to have a big role. A lot of countries trying to immunize the young adolescents with this vaccine to prevent this transmission of disease to the children, because adult the transmission of mode of transmission is different because through the oral sex, but in children it is mostly at the time of delivery or the vertical transmission in the fetus. Then another thing which works is the PPI, proton pump inhibitor, to prevent, G reflex, because more the G reflex traumatizes the laryngeal surface, more the virus replicates. It has been proven that the adjuvant PPI has a big role. Another what we can see, a lot of studies have proven, this indole 3-carbinol is a compound, works by the estrogen pathway, and it is available in the food in certain items like sprouts, broccoli and cabbage, and we can ask these patients to encourage more and more intake of sprouts, broccoli and cabbage. So this is what the available treatment resources we have. We are still short with a permanent answer, and this is something using all these adjuvant therapies with the surgical treatment. We have been able to control many of the patients by means of reduction of number of surgeries, by means of increasing the interval among the surgeries, and by means of giving cure to certain patients. And this is surprising. Earlier I have seen patients who have been operated more than 30 times for the papillomas. This patient today we are operating has already been operated. I reviewed his paper, every part of it is 7 times, and has a full of papilloma. He has a mild respiratory distress, yet we should avoid a tracheotomy in these patients. This is something very important. Giving a tracheostomy is something inviting another surface for the papilloma to grow. So in every possible situation you should avoid tracheostomy, and in case if there is a respiratory distress, this is imminent to do, we may have to do, but then the moment the respiratory the airway is established, we should wean off that from the tracheostomy. We should close it immediately to prevent the colonization of the bacteria, because these are the path for bacteria, this virus, to spread to the lower airways. It has been proven to go to the lower trachea, bronchi, lung, and sometimes it can result into mortality. So this is a very difficult disease. In less than 2% situation can still undergo malignant transformation. So this is, I mentioned in the beginning, that one of the most frustrating pathology, that too in the children, that too affecting airway with no definite answer. So our goal of surgery today, what our plan is today, I will show you the massive papillomatosis. I will share with our surgical technique, and then we'll inject at the site of lesions, intralesional, this monoclonal antibody, vascular endothelial receptor factor inhibitor, bevacizumab. Coming to the surgical point, there are so many things you can see in the literature. People are using laser, has been talked about since long, but believe me, we have stopped using laser for years together. It is detrimental. As I said, the more raw areas you create, more you are inviting the adjacent epithelium for the virus to grow further. So no further raw areas to be created, not deeper areas to be created to give invite viral replication, and at the same time laryngeal stenosis. So our goal is surface removal with minimal trauma to the underlying area. So nowadays we use more and more cobblator. Mostly the number one tool is microdebrider and then cobblator, which I am going to show you, using on the surface with minimal trauma to the underlying epithelium and the submucosa. That is going to be our goal, and then we'll inject this monoclonal antibody. Airway was difficult to intubate, but we could intubate just now with a smaller tube, and then when you will see in between, we may have to do some work in the apnea as well, but we'll try our best to avoid tracheotomy in these cases at any given point of time. So this is our protocol. Sir, you must be seeing a lot of such cases in the institute, because this disease is something a lot of children, families looking up to the institutes for the cure. Girish Mishra sir, can you unmute sir?
Yeah, I'll do that. My electricity is a problem every time.
Yeah. So how do we look at this disease, sir?
Of late, we have not much of experience. We have positive cases around 5,000 years back. And, what is echoing? Hello? Can you hear? Hello? Can you hear?
Yes sir, now.
So, I don't have much experience about debriders and cobbleters, but we have cold steel instruments by which we remove the entire disease. And then, of course, we don't have much experience regarding velocity sigma also, because this is another. But never times it was homeopathy medicines like Thuja that was promoted.
Thuja have been, yes, a lot of...
Old to play or not, we don't know. But the stories say like do repeated debridement and establish the airway, but with a cold steel instrument, not with this debrider. I don't have any experience with debriders and cobbleter.
Yeah, the sir pointed out about very important aspect of homeopathic drug Thuja. The Thuja has been, used for this disease for long. I don't know the overall results, but yes, we have also used some time as an adjuvant therapy. And I discussed with the homeopathy guys, they said it works in some variety of papilloma. You show me the picture, I'll tell you. Even they don't know much about it. Homeopathy are using as a, covering for everything. So, Thuja but has a role. It has been, mentioned in the literature at several places. People have been using for years. But overall, there is no definite cure so far. So what we have been able to achieve by means of surgery and these adjuvant therapies to give at least good quality of life to the affected child.
Sir, Prakash Munga sir is asking any role of propranolol.
Propranolol is same, VEGF inhibitor, but here giving a systemic propranolol is not advisable to young children, and for that this bevacizumab is much safer. There are so many studies done with the bevacizumab, intralesional as well as systemic, and proven to be ultra safe. It has been used quite extensively in the other malignancies, as this is a factor inhibitor for the neoangiogenesis, and it is proven to be quite safe. The only thing is the cost as compared to the propranolol. But propranolol is not as selective, this thing, it has other beta blocker side effects as well. So it is not the first line drug to be used in children.
Your experience with debrider and cobbleter, what difference does it make?
Sir,
Less raw area?
Yes, less raw area.
Cold steel instruments?
The game is around the raw area. Laser, if you use the laser on the surface, it is going to raw area. And if you give any point of time raw area, it is going to, invite the surrounding surface to stimulate viral proliferation. So what we do, we first use debrider to debulk the lesion towards the surface and then pack for a while, because debrider itself cleans because of the suction attached and keeps the field good, so you can under vision remove the elevated lesions and put close to the surface. And for hemostasis we use cobbleter. A lot of irrigation to give minimal thermal damage. So
Cobbleter does not cause mucosal damage?
No, we are not going to reach to the level, that level, and minimize it. I cannot say 100%, but yes, will minimize it. And secondly, particularly in certain areas which are prone to give laryngeal stenosis, like anterior commissure, subglottis, those areas you have to be very, very careful in giving mucosal damage, because that results in laryngeal stenosis. That laryngeal stenosis again is a big problem in children. Like papilloma, that again is the second frustrating disease coming up as an after effect of this treatment. So we have to be very careful about preventing laryngeal stenosis, because that ultimately may make the child tracheostomy, and which is something which we certainly want to avoid.
And have you done Biegel typing in this case? We say HPV-11 is more aggressive and more extensive in comparison to HPV-6.
Yes, so mostly these children have aggressive lesion, and most of the time it is because of HPV-11. HPV 6 is not so aggressive. 11 is so. So, and we have got viral typing done a couple of times, and it is almost always HPV 11. And this vaccine works very well. It increases the immune response against the HPV, it increases the antibody titer, and this is something we need to follow the instruction for the full course of Gardasil to these patients. It's not a single dose, but a complete, until booster dose we should give.
What is that course like?
The Gardasil is 900 rupees.
Not the cost, the course.
Course, vaccine.
Yeah.
The first, as the patient remains in the first is the first time we give, then after a month and then 6 months.
Okay.
And we follow these children with a pediatrician for this all evaluation. And nowadays the non-valent vaccine has come, it is costly. This is proven to be much better than the Gardasil. So these are on the screen, what you see are the, I would say, safer and more effective regimens as an adjuvant therapy in the present context. Rest other are available. People have been using, still using, interferon, cetapavir according to their availability and the cost and other factors.
These sprouts and broccoli, cabbage, these are the things which you encourage the child to eat,
Yes,
or what?
yes, because they have proven to have a role through the estrogen mechanism in preventing proliferation of the HPV replication. So there is no harm in using any adjuvant therapy which can work. Like I said, we always use celecoxib. We don't know how much it is working, but there is no harm in giving this. So all these things we are giving as a combination to all patients, all these 5 things along with the surgery. So, and what we have observed in last couple of years, we have been able to reduce the frequencies of the surgery required in the children with the use of all these things. The cost is a factor. Bevacizumab is a costlier one, though we have been able to, achieve at a minimum cost through the wholesale and all this, and it costs in our, our setup now around 10,000 rupees per 100 milligram vial.
Okay, how much you give normally? How much ml you give?
Yeah, it is one time 100 milligrams. So what we do, we'll inject according to the surface 25 to 50 milligram, and rest immediately after surgery we'll give IV in the drip.
Okay. And most of these surgeries, they have about anterior commercialization in most of the cases. How you prevent it?
Yes, so anterior commissure if involved, I would say it is better to stage the surgery. Remove on one side at a time and come after say 2 weeks or so to remove from the other side to prevent adhesions. Because giving that web or stenosis is most frustrating.
This patient has undergone 7-8 times, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Is there a possibility of some adhesions and you might need to use stents
Yes,
or something?
because when we did scopy, yes sir, when we did scopy, he had a mild respiratory distress and it was full of papillomas. Nothing is visible beyond papillomas. So now once we remove papilloma, let's see what has gone earlier.
So, are you prepared with the stent in case, or you must have had experience of putting stents in such patients?
What?
Stent, silastic sheet or some
Stent,
re-stenosis.
See, if you have already given a web or something like that, already stenosis has occurred, then of course you have to take all these measures. If the anterior stenosis, you may have to use a keel or you may have to do some spacer to widen the space. There are many methods to, treat the subglottic or laryngeal stenosis. And that is again a very difficult issue in children to treat with.
Any role of anti-acid for long time is reflux, is this positive factor in this case besides?
What?
Factor. The reflux.
Reflux is always to be added on along with the other therapies. The reflex treatment is a part of management because the reflex acid into the laryngeal part will further stimulate this raw area, and the raw area is a something which is going to stimulate the viral replication.
Sir, kindly tell the position of the patient, the size of the tube, and
Yeah, I will show you. I will show you. Meantime, my associate is already, I have watched up. My associate already, fixed the laryngoscope. I'll show you the laryngoscopic picture also.
yes, sir. So which laryngoscope you are using? Which size? People want to know.
Which laryngoscope?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have the entire set of laryngoscope, but as a rule, whatever widest possible for the child, we'll show you.
Suppose there is pulmonary extension of this lesion, then what is the kind of management in this case?
Again, same. Pulmonary means aggressive disease.
Yeah, aggressive.
Yeah, so you have to, remove the lesions if they are removable with a fiber guided laser or something. Fiber guided laser, because with the, that cold method, what do you call that? But whatever means, and then bevacizumab. Bevacizumab is the mainstay of treatment. And then massive bronchopulmonary, this thing, papillomatosis blocking the airway. People are using now the tracheal stents. Tracheal stents for the mechanical compression of the papillomas.
Okay.
And that prevents the further growth as well. So that is one of the remedies for the massive bronchopulmonary papillomatosis, tracheal stents, by their mechanical effect. Besides the other treatment, adjuvant therapy will go on more aggressively, more systemic bevacizumab frequently, this IV bevacizumab, and those patients are tracheotomized frequently. That is really, I would say, most aggressive course of the disease.
Sir, have you noticed any side effects of bevacizumab in long term?
Not really. It is going to be very safe.
Satish,
Virender. Yeah.
Yeah.
you can hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can
yes,
hear you.
please.
Satish, have you noticed with time sometimes these lesions they regress with themselves?
Regressed?
Yeah, sometimes after so many surgeries, at the age of 15, 16, 18, suddenly you feel that, they're not
Yeah.
coming.
Autoinvolution has been reported. Autoinvolution has been reported, but that is very, very unlikely, uncommon, I would say.
Yeah.
And still it is not known how. But that is very, very uncommon.
What do you prefer? It is a microscope or a video endoscope? The endoscope?
Yeah, this is microscopic picture. Are you getting the picture?
Yes, we are getting
Yes.
microscopic.
Yeah, I hope the picture is good.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
See this tube, how the tube was introduced.
So difficult.
See, the airway was completely full of these, and the papillomas here are in the supraglottis, are on the arytenoid here, the false cord here on both sides, and probably in the glottis. I don't know the attachment below. I can't see beyond. And this is the false cord area. See, everywhere are the papillomas. Can you see? See this massive, component.
So what is the size of the tube?
It is 3.5, huh? Yeah, it is cuff tube. Section. See this posteriorly.
Yeah, going up
Yes,
to
sir.
the.
Yes, sir. Going.
It was completely blocking the airway. Back then, huh?
And role of radiology means which one you prefer, CT or MRI in this case?
Not really. It is not going to, help in, changing your management.
Sir, any role of NBI? Many people do NBI.
NBI has a role, not in this. In next case of a CA vocal cord, which I am going to remove with a laser, early lesion, NBI has a role there. In many of the other pre-malignant, malignant lesions, NBI has a role. NBI can guide you during surgery as well. NBI is what? For everyone, narrow band imaging. It is because of certain filtered wavelengths lights, the neovascularization of the superficial areas of the mucosa and some mucosa can be highlighted. So wherever neovascularization going on, you can assume that some tumor is going to be there in early stage back. So like when you are operating on a laryngeal cancer, laser, small lesion, you can take the help of NBI by means of ascertaining the margins around if there could be some hidden lesion inside the mucosa or some mucosa. Superficial. NBI is for superficial lesion, not for depth. But that is very important. Even, the NBI has not only in the larynx, has a role in the oral cavity, pharynx, everywhere, for the superficial mucosal and submucosal areas. And that is a good technology. But here again, NBI has no role for that matter. So what I am using is a simple package for sir there.
Implant वाले को बुलाएं? बंदे को बुलाएं implant?
दूसरा दे पैक. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes, boss. दे भिगो के दे. So I am just decongesting on the surface.
Are you using adrenaline swab?
Yeah, simple saline adrenaline swabs. As well. So using microdebrider for safety in terms of minimizing the damage to the mucosa, you have to be, you have to bear with little bit of the oozing, some extra time, but that is certainly something which is very important for the patient here.
Do you use some local injections?
Not really.
As doing microlaryngeal surgery otherwise?
Not sir, not sir. Here, not at all, debrider.
You prefer microscope over endoscope, or choice is microscope only?
Microscope. Endoscope I can use in between, to ascertain the lesions in the corners or somewhere else if they are not in the size of the microscope. For that purpose, you can use endoscope.
Any specific blade, debrider blade for
Yeah. This is the regular laryngeal debrider blade. How's the picture, sir?
Very
good,
nice.
good.
Very clear.
So what I am going to use, the micro debrider section. See my blade of the micro debrider away from the surface.
Yes.
Away from the surface, as I don't want to give any mucosal trauma.
You may pre-op steroids for some time.
Yes. See, the patient has a little respiratory distress for last, 48 hours, little mild. We got his COVID and all those protocols have to be followed.
Yes.
See, I am elevating this with the section. See, this is just luminal component. See this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
For laser, you prefer same tube or laser selective metallic tube for laser?
Yeah, laser tube. But in children here, the laser tubes are not available of this sizes,
Yes, that's the problem.
And anyway, we are not going to use laser. The next case we are going to use laser. The next larynx case when we do.
Yeah. In that case, we use that.
Yeah, so we'll take the larynx case on this table and in between, we'll do a quick clear stapes surgery.
Yeah, we have long list today.
Yes, sir. Long way.
See what I'm doing, just creating the airway.
Yeah.
Any specific COVID precautions you are taking apart from testing and all that for aerosol?
All precautions.
Yes, sir, all those. Level 2.
Like
Level 2 PPE, all screening outside the hospital, all these patients are screened.
for
Right.
aerosol, what are you doing? You are using some shield or
Shield.
shield? Yeah.
See the vocal cord in picture?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, we can see.
yeah, we can.
Very nice.
I'm trying to avoid, workshops there. I'm just creating airway. Wash, मेरे को दे wash.
It's difficult to get 3 number tube, 3.5 number with cuffed one. So I think.
Yeah, we have 3 number cuff tube also. Sometime in such situation when patient has a huge proliferative lesions, initial, debulking we may have to under apnea also to avoid tracheostomy. Here also I may have to remove the tube in between to remove this posterior lesion. Let's see.
Sir, how is your experience between juvenile onset and adult onset papillomatosis?
Yes, the adult, almost same, these, but the adults have more chances of, malignant transformation. See, I am removing only surface. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here you need a full control. You need to have a proper control over the micro debrider. See this? It's not that you are using on the false cord and false cord stenosis doesn't affect.
Yes.
It will stimulate viral replication in the adjacent area. So prevent.
Yeah.
I need card number. Somebody's card number.
I'll have to go up and bring it. Sanu?
See how the vocal cord is badly affected.
Yes. You remove anterior commissure lesion and subclotic extension.
See, I am not going to the anterior commissure to give me raw area for that matter. I am just working on the surface everywhere. See this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have opened the airway.
Yeah.
Yes.
My surface is what as it was. See this anterior commissure. I have not given any raw area at all. Only on the surface of the papillomas I was working. And now in the base where the papilloma is attached to, I will use that monoclonal antibody to prevent neovascularization.
Okay.
That is the, aim of surgery. Surgery's aim is not to radically remove it. Like considering it is a tumor, if I try to remove radically, I am inviting more problems. Wash. Yes, more. Order.
Dr. Rohan Pandey is asking, is this bleeding is a source of migration of papillomatosis?
Not really. We have a cuff tube, we have a thorough irrigation. And see the picture is good?
Yeah, it's okay.
Excellent.
So with debrider this much of oozing is expected. I'll just again place my pack for a while. Then again see if something more to be removed, particularly the posterior area.
Yeah,
That is not visible because of the tube. Thoroughly.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have seen, the lesions outside the larynx as well.
Yeah, hidden lesion, sometimes incidental. This thing.
Yeah. But the bottom line is don't go to the depth of the lesion to remove radical. That is something inviting big problem. Scarring, stenosis, and that's something difficult as papilloma to treat.
Yeah.
Now after this, since he has come to us for the first time, after this resection and the injection, we will do a planned laryngoscopy under GA after 4 to 6 weeks. There may be some growth of papilloma we are going to observe during that period. Not will be, this kind of a picture will never be now. After the injection which we are going to make, this will have a definite effect on this, and the papilloma will come down. And after 4 to 6 weeks, when we do a planned, laryngoscopy and a planned infiltration again with the bevacizumab.
Okay. Okay.
That time after 4 to 6 weeks will require minimal debridement, if required. If required, minimal.
Okay.
But that is a planned one because we never know the growth in every case, how it goes differently. So that is a planned, See that the larynx is looking so good now?
Yeah.
Just remove the gauge. Now we can. Yeah,
That
it's
is-
looking better.
Now, what I will do, let me, chota de le. I will put this, tube anteriorly.
Okay.
I will push this tube anteriorly. Just a moment, I will show you. Suction. And see the posterior part of the larynx as well.
When you extrude the case, you do some laryngeal wash or some suction because sometimes intubation can migrate that papillomatous lesion into the trachea or down. So
Yeah, but we have already checked. Now, when I was washing, I could see the cuff below. And even if there was something, it has come out, and probably nothing. Yeah, pack that, no? Yeah. Forceps. Just a minute, I am connecting, boss.
okay. So you do recheck after 6 weeks usually.
Yeah, that is planned.
Yeah, plan.
4 to 6 weeks. A laryngoscopy under GA.
GA.
Is there a web in the anterior commission? Anterior commission is not very sharp.
No web. So far, no web.
Because it seems to be quite broad area anteriorly.
Yeah, I will show that.
So do you leave some tissue in anterior commissure in order to prevent the stenosis of the anterior commissure?
Not really. The best is to prevent raw area. Best is to prevent raw area rather than create raw area and try to prevent issues. Yes, I think it will not come. Give me the apnea. Oh, the same laryngoscope. What I will do, will remove the tube. Hello? पहले laryngoscope लगा लूँ फिर निकालना. पहले laryngoscope लगाऊँ फिर निकालना. I will put the same laryngoscope. I will show you the same picture. Then we will remove the tube and see the posterior part of the larynx. Because at this point of time, before injecting my, injection, I would like to see the posterior part of the larynx. Let me show you, just a minute. Yes. हटाइए कैरियर हटाओ कैरियर नॉट ट्यूब अरे रुकना यार
Larynx look okay.
Yes, sir. Very.
Is the picture okay?
Yeah, yes.
See, minimal surface lesions. Still there are minimal lesions.
For that cobbleter we will use.
Cobbleter I use in case there is bleeding. Debrider. See some lesions towards the anterior part. Could you see here?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So many people do intraoperative MBI to see the fine dots of papilloma.
Yeah, I told you MBA is a thing, but not much for papillomas, what I believe. You have worked with Nupur does use?
Yes, sir. In pre-op and
No, with papillomas.
Yes, sir.
But how do it is going to change your management in papillomas? Because our goal is not radical excision. And
Yes, sir. Yes.
now, wash. Give. See now the anteriorly it is pretty clear.
Yes.
I don't want to go submucosal at all. My goal is visible papilloma removal. See this?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very clear.
Absolutely. Except the posterior part, which now I am going to see with the apnea. See, no trauma at all.
Yes, sir. Mucosa looking very good and healthy.
खींच left tube. तो खींच तैयार है ना? रिजर्व है? चल वो ले ले जेट. चलो 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 remove. See now the posterior part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Some surface lesions, you know. Only these surface elevations I am going to remove. Not much.
Do you recommend some speech therapy or voice therapy after the surgery?
Pardon?
In this case?
Some
Speech therapy or voice therapy for these patients?
not needed. See now, absolutely clear.
Yes, sir. Very clear. Very clear.
No, tube.
You can see.
Tube. Okay, hata. Two down. So now we'll re-intubate and then we'll fix our laryngoscope, and now I am going to inject my monoclonal antibody. So not creating the raw area, not going radical, not traumatizing mucosa, that is the goal of surgery. Surgery itself is not going to give cure. Our aim of surgery, goal of surgery is very clear: to give airway, at the same time to preserve voice. Same time to preserve voice and same time to preserve stenosis. Now things are very clear. Just a moment, I am connecting. Go.
Dr. Sanjay Khanna is asking why not to use carburetor here.
I didn't feel like there was hardly any oozing. In case I find I have the completer, the laryngeal vent ready, see now there is hardly any oozing. See, the mucosa everywhere is almost intact. I mean, what was affected by papilloma is like that, but otherwise no neuro areas. You can see.
Yes, sir. The key mucosal preservation.
See that? Because we have to preserve the function. We have to preserve function. And that is voice.
So what is the maximum time you have operated on a single child in papilloma?
I have operated at a child 6 times also.
Okay.
But nowadays, in last 3 years, not more than thrice.
Because of this antibody.
All these change in our approach. Even earlier, I used to use layer. Not at all now. Now see the final picture.
Yes, sir.
Is that good?
I think
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Now what I am using to infiltrate, this long needle is PCL needle.
Okay.
Percutaneous lithotripsy needle.
Very nice, sir.
See now the submucosal areas. See this?
Yes, sir. Yes.
See this infiltration. That's it.
Wonderful.
In different areas, wherever I saw the papilloma was attached to. See here.
So you're giving in the paraglottic space.
Yeah, see this? See this? You see the fullness coming with the injection.
Yes, sir, we can see.
See here the papilloma is attached. See this? See this?
Yeah.
And one towards the anterior commissure there. It was a papilloma here. Quite significant. Hata, hata, hata. See this?
Beautiful, beautiful. I think biggest message today is the best message that laser is not the only treatment, because sometimes laser can be cause of recurrence.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there are so many options. Actually,
And now in the posterior commissure, see this? Section this. No. This is a very, very fine needle, you know. I am using high magnification here.
yeah, yeah.
This is a very ultra fine needle.
So which needle do you use for fat injection?
See this now in the posterior commissure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Your question, which needle?
So for fat injection in larynx, do you use the same PCNL needle?
No. That's a different needle. That's a fed with injector.
That injector, yeah.
Yeah, you must have seen at Nupur's place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I follow her only.
How much total cc you have injected?
Total, I injected 1 ml. That means 50 milligram. Little bit remaining in that. So goal is 25 to 50. Rest 50 milligram will, give IV immediately afterwards.
How much time does it take for this liquid to get absorbed? Because will it not cause any airway compromise?
Not really. It's airway adequate.
No, because of the injection, if there's some swelling.
Yeah. I know there is swelling, there is fullness. The tube is in place. There is adequate airway. See the picture of the glottis.
Yeah.
Overall larynx. So the mucosa everywhere is preserved. Can you see?
Yes.
And that is the goal.
And you will repeat this after 6 weeks?
Over there. See the small patch, quite little, outside. Yeah, after 6 weeks. Can you see this? Come here.
Satish,
Yeah.
any role of mitomycin C in this?
Not really. Mitomycin is he uses an antifibrotic. See, this was under very high magnification. I don't know how the picture was there.
It was excellent.
See this place? I use this additional. Can you see?
Yes.
That's it. So now, after 4 to 6 weeks, if you ask me how this is going to be appearing, believe me, absolutely like what you are seeing.
What is the post-operative care, immediate post-operative?
They're not thoda sa divider. Huh? What?
Immediate post-op care.
Nothing.
steroids for
We'll
some
just,
time.
steroid will give 5 to 7 days.
Follow-up is 6 weeks, and then subsequently, how frequently do you follow?
Yeah. We do, in the outpatient department of the fiber optic laryngoscopy, every month, the moment we find any new lesion appearing, rather than allowing it to grow bigger, we take under GA and inject again. And the rest of the, all the adjuvant therapies will go on.
You will just inject, you will not remove that small lesion. Okay?
Yeah, if there is visible above the level of the mucosa.
Okay.
See, I just removed in the hand, if you see, a few seconds before, that's some elevated lesion,
Yeah.
See now, the mucosa is absolutely flat to the level where it should be.
Yeah.
No elevated lesion left behind.
Yes, sir. Very nice.
No need of tracheotomy.
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir.
And see the airway now. And now in the base we have injected the anti-neoangiogenesis drug. See the anterior commissure.
Yes.
Yeah, then I could retract that. Give me
So what
vocal
are
cord.
in these cases? When you suppose there's a total obstruction, would you recommend to go for
See,
tracheostomy?
let me put the vocal cord retractor. See this?
Yeah.
This is already some fibrosis of the anterior commissure. Can you see?
Yeah, we can.
Little bit. See that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can see.
Yeah, but no disease there. See this?
Do not break this, or you'll just leave it like that.
Give me calculator there. Let me break this. See this? I can use, laser is also a good tool for this.
Yeah. Suppose patient has complete obstruction, would you go for tracheostomy or would you just intubate and go for the surgery?
Yeah, I will intubate.
The pressure and the forceful intubation will not harm or like might be the thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is my vocal cord retractor in place. I will remove it now.
Would you put any stent or just leave it like that?
Yeah, I will leave it like this. Home again. I am not very sure about it. There was no harm in doing it. Already it was fused. So, what else it is going to give? Nothing.
Yes.
This was all about, papillomatosis. Yes, any questions?
Sir, Dr. Bokasam from Tirupati is asking how will you manage lesions in the posterior part of the larynx in arytenoid?
The same thing I had shown now. I did under apnea.
Yes, sir.
I removed the tube. Just had shown you under apnea. Can I uska? Sunao.
Just
Microscope
what is the
लगाओ.
commercial name of this David
There are many names. Avastin is a popular. Microscope sub ready. Avastin is available all over. But yeah, the other companies are also available. The company we are using is not probably Avastin. It is much economical brand. Oh, देना रे नाम इसका? While देना while.
Sir, Dr. Parmendu from Kolkata is saying excellent. He is mesmerized with the surgery.
Thank you, sir. This name is, Event. What is that? The trade name is Above Me 100 from the Mylan company. I don't know. You can see.
Okay.
Focus कर दो. Focus कर दो.
Beautiful.
Nice, sir.
And because this cost 8,000 something to the patient.
Good.
The other brand costs 30,000 plus. It's a huge difference.
So what about acyclovir? Dr. Sunil Sharma is saying he's using since long time. Role of acyclovir in this case.
Yeah, I mentioned in the slide earlier, all antiviral drugs have been tried because this is HPV, the virus.
Yes.
So believing that the antiviral drugs will work, people have tried. Cidofovir is antiviral, ribavirin is antiviral, acyclovir antiviral, but they work much against the herpes simplex than this virus. So they are no more in the first line drugs. The thing which works, I mentioned in the last slide, the 5 adjuvant therapies, which we have reached to the conclusion after extensively reviewing the literature, which works, we have used them and found them good. That's why we are propagating. That's it. But still there is no 100% cure to this disease.
Thuja, we have discussed. I think I have also used Thuja. It's work in some cases. And
what? Kuza?
Thuja, yeah.
Kuza has no role in this, boss. Kuza, I believe, Kuza is different thing. You saw the Kuza last time.
Yeah.
Kuza has no role in this because this is something different. Kuza cannot ensure, prevention of mucosal damage. Once you place on the mucosa, that is different. And secondly, that works on a different principle, not like the debrider by means of cutting ability with the suction together. It keeps the blood away. You can control the speed of micro debrider. You can do under vision. You saw we didn't damage the mucosa at all.
Yes,
We were right
Yes,
on the
sir.
target where we wanted to be. And such a huge lesion with no space at all. It was difficult to intubate. And it works well.
Sir, do you dispose them, these debrider blade and cobbler when
Yes,
after these
yeah,
papilloma cases?
Most important question from Udbhav. Immediately, you are not supposed to use it again because this is contaminated now.
That is best.
This is something to be disposed of.